So, gentlemen, you find yourself in the palace of the king. The four of you are guards to the Serpent King of the current kingdom of Morbus. The four of you have, in some way, shape, or form, always tried to protect the king, at least from the moment that he accepted you within his inner circle. Tonight is the feast for the king's 65th birthday, which technically happens tomorrow, but as per tradition, the feast starts the day before and ends on the day off. Because of this, you guys will be present for most of the preparations. You guys will be there as both guards and just general help. But there is an additional thing that has come into the light. A couple of days before the feast started, the king got a message of sorts. The message itself read that either he would have to call off the feasts and pay any resources used for this feast to the people of his kingdom, or that he would end up dead in a ditch and forgotten. With this message was sent a small hand, seemingly of a child, as to make sure that the king knew that this was an actual threat. You have all heard this story. You all know what the problem currently is. And because of that, you have all been called to the palace before the feast starts, where the king will give a little bit of a speech, ask for your aid, and then you will be put in charge of making sure that none of the four members of the current royal family fall to this threat. So, as you can see on the map, the four of you are currently standing face to face with the king, King Saris, the queen, Queen Ariana, and their two sons, Prince Jason and Prince Ferris. The king, at this point in time, stands and speaks to all of you. My friends, my allies, my God. I know that these are treacherous times, as with the planned assassination on our family, but I must inquire of you to be strong and to be vigilant. Several of you will patrol the gardens outside, and will make sure that nothing comes through, and the rest will make sure that we inside, alongside the numerous guests, are safe. For this, I would like to ask you, whose names will be called, to stay with me, and the rest to go outside. And he picks up a small list as to make sure that he calls the correct names. So as I call your name, please describe what your character looks like, and then we'll go from there. And if you want to talk a little bit about yourself, go for it. The first name he calls, Izon.
Yes, and you see, yes, my king, and you see like a fairly average human-looking man standing with mid-short brown hair and blue eyes, a giant hammer behind his like back on his shoulders. You clearly see it's magically tinkered with, as like there's like some magical ether lines, electrical lines like at the side of the hammer. And also he has a shield with a giant like round thing on the front of it. And next to me stands my greatest companion, Rex, and you see clearly a metal dog with sharp edges on it standing next to me. And I say, "Come on, Rex, say hi." And Rex answered, "Bark, bark. Ah, Rex, it seems I have some bugs left in you.
The king looks at you and just says, like, just make sure that he stays contained. We don't want to scare the guests.
Okay, my king.
He looks back to his lists. Rednak.
Yes, my king. And you see a rather buff, large, a bit clumsy male in his 40s, long black hair, with also an armor and a shield. He also has a warhammer, and he's not brute, but he's a man of little words. You think he'll be very... He does his duty without much frivolous stuff.
All right. He looks at you, nods, goes back to his list. Lady Aqua.
I bow for the king. Yes, sir. And you see a blue female with long green hair. And yeah, she had blue, the purest blue eyes, like a sea. And yeah, that's my character.
All right. He acknowledges the bow. Looks back to his list. Fang.
You see a normal-sized, almost human, but not exactly a human. He seems to have a little bit of something like a snake-like look, of about 5 feet high, kneeling and saying the words, "Yes, my liege."
The king nods. You can stand up, Fang. It's all right. After this, he goes over the lists, reads out 8 more names of 8 of the remaining guards that are with you, and says you are the ones that will be staying within the palace. Izon, Aqua, Fang, and Rednak, the 4 of you will be in charge, but you will still be listening to orders from my 2 sons. The remaining 12 of you, divide yourself into 4 groups of 3 and make sure that you patrol around the entirety of the outside of the palace. Try to make sure no one gets in that shouldn't be here. After that, he kind of looks to his wife and nods, and Queen Ariana steps forward. Maybe interesting to know the king is, as I said, is about 65 years old, is a little bit older of a man, has like a gray beard, blue eyes. His wife is ever so slightly the reverse of him, where the king is more of a relatively strong for his age man. The queen is more of a slender, beautiful woman. She's about as old as the king. Don't ask her for her actual name. She will slap the shit out of you. But, she looks a lot younger than you presume she actually is. And she comes forward and she says, all right, in the meantime, the ones who are posted within the palace walls, you will also have to help with some of the preparations that still need to be done for the feast. In about an hour, several men will come here to set up the tables, set up the floor. To her right, you guys' left. Set up the dance floor for that. Make sure that we can have our dance. And she looks at the king with love in her eyes, because she knows that at midnight the 2 of them will have the first dance of his birthday. 2 hours later, at about 6, the catering will come with the food. Make sure that we have all something to eat. And at about 8, the guests should start arriving, at which point your actual task begins. Up until that time, just make sure that everything runs smoothly here. Then at 9, we will eat. At 11, we will move to the dance floor, and then at 12, the bells will ring 12 times, and then me and the king will have our moment. And after that, the feast will continue for as long as people wish to stay. Are there any questions?
No, king.
Oh, my liege.
No, my king.
No, sir.
All right then. Me and the king and our 2 sons will go upstairs for now, as to prepare ourselves. Dismissed. And the entire royal family turns around, and you see them go upstairs. So, at this point, as I said, you guys keep 8 of the members of the Golden Guard. These are recruits. They're not as battle-hardened as you guys are, which is kind of the reason that you 4 were put in charge. So the question is really, what do you want to do?
What kind of fighters are they?
All of them are generally guards. Most of them have heavy armor. All of them actually have heavy armor. They have a shield and a longsword with them. They're just not as experienced as you guys are.
But there's no diversity in their skills. They're all practically the same.
Pretty much.
Okay.
How much time do we have before the guests start to arrive?
Before the guests themselves arrive, it's about 5 hours that you guys have.
Okay.
Okay.
And before the catering comes?
Catering is in 3 hours, and the setup of everything is in an hour. And it's probably going to take up until, like, right about before the actual feast starts.
Okay.
The feast, is it only on the ground floor, or will it also be...
It is expected to only be on the ground floor because the floor above this, the first floor, has the personal quarters of the royal family, and they don't necessarily want people to start snooping in there.
Okay.
So how should we split the party to cover as much ground as we can? Should we go 2-2, or each for their own with their own 3 to 4 guards?
Maybe 2-2. I think that's the best.
And
Me,
we
I
have
think
parties
that's
of around 8 twice.
Yes. Dungeon Master, small question. What is the big red square in the middle of the
big
building?
red square behind is on the outside, so that's on kind of the terrace. The reason that I didn't put anything there is it's actually a hidden passage that goes to an underground quote-unquote bunker for the king and the queen in case something happens. This was
Okay.
installed specifically for those kinds of situations. If something happens, the usual point of action is to bring the king and queen there.
Okay.
Because there's a special room in there that only they can open.
So about the contents of the rooms, I suppose the teas are tables?
Are going to be tables. They're technically not there yet, but...
Okay. And the stars, what are they representing?
The stars are going to be statues. So they're bringing in a couple of statues from quote-unquote famous artists. Not really the most famous, but kind of famous artists.
The blue square is the dance room,
Yes.
and the
Nice.
small white squares with a diagonal line are.
So the room that those are in is kind of the prep room for the bards and stuff that are going to come to play music for
The
the king and the queen.
backstage.
Pretty
Dressing
much.
rooms.
Yeah, pretty much.
Nice.
Okay.
Okay.
So we have the 2 main entry doors on the bottom,
Yep, indeed.
then 2 small doors beside the
Throne?
place where the king spoke to us
Yeah,
to go outside.
exactly.
And then in the backstage we have another 2 small doors,
Yep,
and
one
on
of
the
the
other
dining halls
side
too.
also 2 small doors.
yep. And entirely to the right, by the way, the furthest room is the kitchen, and the room before that is the place where everybody will be going to eat.
Okay.
Dining room.
Yeah, exactly. That was the word I was looking for.
Mm.
Okay, so
Well, I guess we should do a preliminary check on the grounds if we find something already suspicious. And then I guess we wait until the first helpers
People's-
arrive.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can anyone detect magical sources on people? Either the guests or
I think I have some sensors built for that. If you give me some minutes, but they don't work very long, like before they need to recharge. But I can detect, but I don't know if it's helpful already.
maybe we can screen every person who comes in,
Yeah.
That's
if
going
that's
to be
possible.
difficult, I think, because like
How many
It's
guests
going
are we
to take a-
expecting?
You're expecting about 100, including the bards.
Yeah.
But not including the staff, I suppose.
Not including the staff. No, indeed.
and like my sensor has like 10 minutes that it can work, and then I need to recharge again for like 10 more minutes. So I don't think we can scan all guests.
Perhaps we can if they. How big is the radius that you can scan?
It detects everything within 30 feet of where it is.
Okay. Perhaps you can stand guard between the dining table and the main hall, and when everyone goes to sit at their table, you can scan everyone that goes through the doors. That should not take more than 10 minutes to get everyone seated from the main hall to the dining hall.
Yeah, sure, I can do that. Seems like
And we can do a small tour of all the kitchen staff and all the bars and in the back room, backstage.
I prefer like that like I'm also stationed near the kitchen or the prep room for the bar, so like Rex can sit there so it doesn't scare the guests
Yes.
while
Fine.
not being too far.
Okay. I think we can do a check if everything. If the grounds are fine, if nothing is too suspicious there.
All right.
So we split up.
Sure.
So remember that you do have 12 guards doing the grounds of the palace walls itself. Of course, I'm not guaranteeing that they'll find everything, but I do want to mention that as well.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I suppose that we best split up Rednak with Aquamarine and Izon with Fang, or
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
That's fine.
because I think we have 2 more ranged people and 2 more direct.
I'm like pretty frontline, so I like to
I'm
hit people
also
with my hammer.
pretty frontline.
That's what I thought.
Don't
so
worry. This baby also has some ranged modifications, but hitting them with like the hard part is still the best way to, I don't know, incapacitate them.
Yeah, then we should start doing our round of the palace.
Okay.
All right. So are you each taking 4 guards with you, or?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right.
There were 12 in total?
There were 8 with you and 12 that were patrolling the
Yeah, okay, then
the
it's
grounds.
8.
So you
Then
have
it's
8
4,
with
4.
you. You have 8
Yeah.
that you can command at this point.
Yeah, then we'll take 4 and the other 2 can take 4.
All right.
Or to 1 and 5, follow me.
You heard the robot man. Follow him.
All right. So, it was Izon and Aqua that were going together, right?
Izon
Fang.
and Fang.
Izon and
Yeah.
Fang. All right. So where are you guys going first, or
This-
just doing
I
a
want-
general round?
I want to go to the floor, the dancing floor.
Okay, we'll take the right wing and the 2 others can take the left wing to check out.
I also need to set up some more lightning in that room anyway, for the dance
Lightning
also.
or lighting?
Lighting. Sorry.
We have
It's
found
small
we have
lines
found
for
the
me.
assassin. God damn it!
It's
a
a small
robot.
line sometimes.
All right.
Do we know the 8 guards that are coming with us?
Not personally, no. They're just people that have recently been recruited in about the last year, which is why they still need to kind of get their bearings. A lot of the Golden Guard people are people that also have their own additional things that they can do. Some of them are in a different, are on different islands or in different parts of Morbus in order to kind of deal with situations there as well, because Morbus isn't in the best of graces with everybody right now, which is why you've still gotten a decent number of guards, but not all of them are like, you know, the highest of highest, you could say. All right. So, Izon and Fang, do you just want to look around in the room, or is there something specific that you're looking for, or?
How does the room look? Are there any like
At this
ventilation?
point, it's
things
still
or room windows?
I mean, I suppose we've already been here oftentimes, I suppose.
Yes, you have seen this room. Usually this gets used for like events and dining thingies and stuff.
Then I think we're really just looking for discrepancies
all right.
in the room.
I would like to have a general like description of like the windows and like how many there are.
So usually a wall is signaled with like this small, little bit thicker black line. If the line is light blue, at that point it means that there is a window there. So you can kind of see that in this room there is one side of the wall, which is the side that looks over the terrace, that is completely filled with windows. This is not like one giant window. It's like all of these windows, all of them separate, but it's just only windows there. There's no like pure wall there. Whereas at the other side, there's just a couple of walls that are looking out over over the rest of the area, but there's not that many there. So that's how that looks. The tables aren't currently there. Those are going to be brought in about an hour. And the dance floor is also going to be laid out at that point. The two of you are allowed to make a perception check, though, if you want to, for kind of having a little bit of a general look around the room to see if there's something odd with it or if something is being set up.
Perception. This one normally.
19 and 18. Nice. So, you guys kind of look around the room for a little bit. It takes you at least a couple of minutes to have a decent check. Other than the fact that maybe like a couple of the walls need to like some refurnishing and stuff like that, there doesn't really seem to be anything strange about this room. It seems pretty standard. It seems like the way it always has.
It's not that the spots that need refurnishing seem to be recently made. It's just really worn out.
It's really just, it's starting to be worn out a little bit. This is a relatively old palace already. To be fair, the people that were coming were going to do something about that. They were going to make sure that like the sides of the walls were also going to look a little nicer, give them maybe like a small little lick of paint, but you know, it doesn't seem to be anything that you need to worry about. Let's put it like that.
Okay, this room looks clear for me. Do you see anything suspicious, Fang?
Not really. I thought I saw some things, but they're just the old paint that's peeling off. So.
Okay, yeah. Then we can move on to the next room, I guess.
All right.
Are we ready? And we're going to the backstage room.
All right. The backstage room has already been slightly set up. There's a couple of tables there already in case the musicians want to kind of leave their stuff there. So you can make another perception check for this room.
20.
Nice.
But not a natural.
15.
A dirty 20. So this room, as I said, there's already a couple of tables. You also see two kind of like closets that are there in case something needs to be stored for the people that are going to come here.
But they're empty, the closets. Or...
They are currently empty. Yes.
Okay.
The thing is, you notice that this room, just like the previous one, a little bit worn out, but other than that, doesn't really seem to be any danger here or anything that's out of place, so to speak. At least not at the moment.
Okay.
The room itself is very similar, by the way, to the previous one you guys were in. It's technically an empty palace room that gets used as pretty much for the backstage whenever there's bards or something coming along. So it's not different than it is otherwise.
Okay.
All right. In the meantime, Aqua and Rednak, what are you two up to?
There was another room, right? On the left side?
Yes.
Castle left or on the map left?
Wait, the castle left, sorry.
Castle left, so you have the dining hall there and you have the kitchens there.
Maybe we go and check the dining hall. There is nothing suspicious.
All right, sure.
And I have a little bit hungry. So maybe we can steal something from the kitchen.
Food's only going to be there at like about 6, but you know.
Oh, well, maybe you prepare something.
But maybe you could find some insects or spiders. Those are very nutritious. So.
Sure. Or fish. Good.
I mean, you can certainly try.
Yeah.
So you guys are going to the diner hall then?
Yep.
All right. Rednak, what was your passive perception? Apparently nothing.
Rednak.
That's a 0 passive perception. That's very interesting.
Yeah. Is he still here?
I hope so. Hello? Ah, he's muted.
Oh.
Lol.
I mean, you can tell us if you don't want to join us.
I went to the... so my passive perception is 23.
Yes.
Oh, shit.
So Aqua, you can make an additional perception check if you want to.
Yeah, it's good. Perception, huh?
Yes.
17.
All right. So the two of you look around this room the same as Fang and Izon did in the other one. You already see the giant table at the bottom. This is the king's table. This is where they're going to be eating, which is specifically like laid in with gold and silver.
Nice.
Also has the serpent on it, the serpent symbol of the Serpent King. In the middle of it, completely like carved into the only piece of wood that is actually within the table, like a special brown oaken wood that was specifically carved for this table for this family.
Mm-hmm.
The other tables still need to be placed. You kind of look around the room. The only thing that you can tell from this room is the fact that, again, it looks out onto the terrace through a large set of windows. You also notice that it's a little bit darker in here because the north is to the bottom side of the map, because I had made it before I actually thought of where north and south were. So south is upwards on the map. So you guys, if I'm not mistaken, are in the west, which means, you know, the sun doesn't really shine into your... It's kind of fading away from this room. But other than that, you don't really notice anything special here.
Okay. Is there something special on the chair where the king's gonna sit?
Make an investigation check.
All right. Oh shit. Oh god.
Rip.
I mean, it's a special chair. It's a
I'm
very
gonna sit on it.
okay. You sit on the chair.
What are you doing, Aqua? That's the chair for the king, you know that.
I'm testing the chair. If there's something hidden. You never know.
You never cease to amaze me. Get off it before anyone sees us.
Okay, and quickly
As you look at the 4 guards who are inside the room with you, like looking at him, like, is this supposed to happen?
Don't say anything. You've seen nothing. It's all fine.
or I kill you.
Just for the lulz, make an intimidation check.
Let me guide you with that.
Sure, you can add a D4. Why the hell not?
What I gonna do?
Intimidation, yeah.
Oh shit. Oh, nice.
Oh, that's nice. And you can add a D4. 22.
22.
Like, the moment you say, I will kill you, at that moment, all those 4 guards are just like, hand to their head. You're like, yes, sir! Ma'am! Yes, ma'am! Yes, ma'am! And just, like, they, like, salute you, and they, like, turn around and start looking if there's something special about the room, like, none of them making eye contact with the 2 of you.
I'm going to the kitchen.
You have successfully intimidated your
Fellow
guards.
That starts good.
All right. So as you go to the kitchen, Aqua, make another perception check if you'd like.
Okay, wait.
I want to check the cupboards and the closets if there's something hidden there.
All right, make an investigation check.
Great.
Perception check?
Yep.
Okay.
Let me guide myself with that.
Sure.
Oh, you're gonna need it.
Nice.
So, you open up one of the cupboards, and all of a sudden, you see like this giant set of plates that's about to fall over on
shit.
you. So, are you gonna step out of the way or try to make sure that it doesn't fall over?
I'm gonna make sure they don't fall over.
Okay. Make a dex check.
You're so good at this.
No dex check.
Oh,
13. I mean, you're currently holding the plates up, and they're not falling yet, but you're kind of incapable of moving unless you want these plates to fall the fuck
Aqua?
down.
I'm in the
Aqua,
kitchen.
So, Aqua, you're like looking around a little bit. So this room is, as was said, there's a couple of cupboards and the tables are already there. There's also some stuff that's already been preset up for the people for the catering so that they can actually make the food for the king.
Mm-hmm.
But nothing like concrete yet. There's no meat or anything there yet. At this point, you're like checking one of the tables. You look up and you see Rednak just standing there holding a set of plates, like trying not to fall them. One of them, like, literally barely being held by his pinky.
Oh god.
please, I need you.
Okay, I'm gonna help, I guess.
Okay, how are you gonna help?
Yeah. How do I gonna help?
Just take the first plate of my pinky and put it back, and then we can shove the other staples back in.
Okay, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, so make a wisdom check. Yeah, you.
Oh, okay. Wisdom.
Okay, sure. It's not a high DC. It's just to check if, like, you know, you go towards Rednak and you start, like, taking a couple of the plates, making sure that you don't take any plates that would, like, unbalance some of the others. and you like put a couple of them on the table, make sure that, you know, they don't fall over until Rednak is able to kind of push the rest back into the cupboards, making so that it doesn't fall over. You have successfully not broken any of the king's stuff.
So, Redneck, don't touch anything, you know?
I know. My mother warned me for this. I'm just so clumsy, you know.
You have
Were the guards already there?
The guards were kind of investigating the rest of the room, and they were kind of unsure what to do. Like, they're still kind of intimidated from this woman who just told them that she was gonna kill him, and now it was like, do we help? Do we not? Like, they were just looking at this situation. You know how, like, you can have, like, one person putting something together, and then, like, there's 4 people standing around just quote-unquote supervising it?
Sure.
That
Yes.
that was the situation there.
okay.
I just tell them, she will kill you though if you tell someone.
Yes, sir.
So do your work now.
Yeah, yes. All 4 of them just like spread out over the room, like seriously, just looking at everything, just like, okay, let's not fuck this up.
So, Redneck, do you see any food? I have hungry.
I won't open any cupboards or closets.
But is there, how do you say that? Food chamber or something?
A pantry?
Yeah.
No, not. I don't think so. Actually, I don't know.
That's supposed to be more near the underground, well, the place where you had to bring the king and the queen.
Okay.
There's like a little bit of a side thing there, because it's a lot cooler down there.
Okay.
Kind of set up like that.
But there is no bread or something.
Currently in here, no.
Okay. That's disappointing.
You're a druid, right? Don't you
Yeah.
have some berries or something?
No. I'm
No?
not that kind of druid.
Okay. I don't know how all you druids do that stuff. I'm not that nature-like or beast-like.
Okay.
I just love my shield and warhammer.
I understand.
All right. So, I'm gonna say that, like, throughout, like, looking through the 2 rooms, kind of checking them out, you go from about 3 o'clock to about 4 o'clock, at which point you get the message from some of the guards on the outside that the people who are planning on bringing in the tables and stuff, and the statues and all that, how they are currently starting to bring in everything that is necessary for the feast.
Good. I go to Izon and ask him, is it the time now to see if there's anything magical about stuff they're bringing in?
Oh, I can like try, but then you got to give me like 10 minutes to prepare this device. And
Just a small question. Where are we having this conversation?
That's a good
Somewhere
question.
in the main hall, I
back to
guess.
the main hall, I guess. And if we're done, we go back to the main hall.
Oh yeah.
Let's just put ourselves in the main hall then. Makes it easier to follow.
Okay.
Well, it might be easier that we just let him first bring in most of the stuff and then do a quick trip throughout the ground floor. No, then I need to
Yeah.
only like do it
Okay.
once. And I kind of want to set up some alarms. One of my alarms devices that I have with me, if you don't mind. Like
No.
there aren't any guests supposed to be entering the dancing area before dinner, right?
I mean, it's not forbidden to enter the the dance area, but they're not like supposed to. Like, if someone were to enter the location, it wouldn't be like, oh, I'm fucking around here, and it would just be like, hey, I'm curious what's down here.
Okay.
It would be a little stranger if they went like upstairs.
Maybe
I'm
then
going to
you-
like place an alarm at the at the staircase.
Okay. How exactly are you doing that?
On
out-
which
Ritual
one?
casting alarm, but
Ah,
I'm an
okay.
artificer, so I have a special like alarm setup, like some cameras.
Where
mean,
is the stair?
If you like, I could also put a hunting trap somewhere on one of the staircases if we really don't want him to go up.
But
But
like we
the
don't need
king
to
is
like I
still-
can make my alarm like not go off when the king and the queen and the princess are like passing by, or if we are passing by. So it's like
I can
fair.
let my hunting trap do that too. That's called warning someone that it is there.
I don't know if the king is going to like it, but better ask him first, I guess, before like.
You want to disturb the king while he's preparing himself?
I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't like. I also wouldn't like just place a hunting trap without the king knowing that there's a hunting trap on the ground.
I was just
So-
suggesting it. God.
I don't
Yeah, but
think
if the
it's,
king doesn't know that
good of-
there's one, we have a bigger problem, I think.
yeah.
Perhaps you can place an alarm at the secret passage in the terrace.
Yeah, I can place multiple alarms.
That's a good spot, I think.
Why would
So
you
we
put
have-
an alarm there actually? Because no one should be in the knowing of that spot, so
Yeah, no one should be knowing. Which is exactly why we should know if someone is going through there that we don't know about.
Yeah.
People,
we don't
people.
suspect.
I have enough of my devices to put everywhere. Like, I
Crazy.
just like need like 10 minutes to place one at the spot, and I'm fine.
I do have two questions. If you would put an alarm there, would it be an audible or a mental one? And you can designate creatures that wouldn't set off the alarm. So
Oh.
It would be a mental one.
okay.
We don't want to scare the guests, are we? And
No.
I would assume that I can designate all the guards that are currently here and the king, queen, and princess, and
Okay.
of course we four that like are normal as usual and are allowed to pass through these points.
Okay. Let me see if I can show that some way, somehow. Yes.
can't you
that's-
maybe just draw a pointer or something?
That was my plan, yes. So this would be one spot then, or?
Yes.
Alright, so we'll start with that spot. In the meantime, in those 10 minutes, people are coming in those. For the other 3, are you guys planning on helping out, or are you just planning on, like, overwatching and kind of checking out what they're doing, or?
I'm gonna go to the pantry, the kitchen, and ask the leader of the people who bring stuff in if everyone is vetted, and if no one was replaced today or yesterday or 3 days ago. If they have no newcomers, if everyone is a part of the usual crew, or if there are new people.
Alright. So you notice this, like, a little bit more fat, like, large dude, like about 40 in age, starting to balden a little bit, you know, wearing normal worker clothes, and he looks at you, thinks for a second, and he's like, I don't think so, no. Haven't really
Okay.
had any replacements lately. This is pretty much the best crew that I have, who's been working for the last, I think, 3-4 years or something. So shouldn't be any problems with that. No, as far as I know.
You've also noticed nothing new with the people who bring you the food and everything.
Not as far as I know. No, I'm very sorry. Why is there a problem with your services, or?
No, we're just checking out if everything is fine. It's just the usual.
Precaution.
Yeah, I'm just a cautious man.
Well, I mean, it's always smart to be that in these days. But no, as far as I know, It should be fine.
Okay. Do you need any help or something? Can we set you up?
Well, actually, yes, we have a lot of work to do and way too little time to do so. So, yes, we need, and he starts, like, giving an explanation of, like, where the tables need to be, what they wanted for the dance floor, stuff like that. He starts, giving you guys, like, mental notes. So if you want to help, you can.
Is there something to do in the kitchen?
No, nothing really has to be set up in the kitchen.
Can you spare a little bread for that woman?
I'm hungry.
We're just a
Sorry.
moving company, ma'am. I'm very sorry.
Oh, please. I gonna kill you. Oh no.
What?
No, I say nothing, sir.
Okay. That wasn't creepy at all.
She's a bit hangry.
Clearly.
A little bit, sorry.
Well, ma'am. He like walks off and starts like giving orders to his subordinates.